So today is the first class in a series of classes. But actually we already had the last class like half a year ago or something, and we talked about Samadhi. This is the last class of this series, but okay, no problem. We can start at the end or at the beginning, it does not matter so much. Today we talk about the first two steps, Yama and Niyama, that are there in Ashtanga Yoga. And so it's logical I also explain a little bit what is Ashtanga Yoga and what are actually the 8 steps of Ashtanga Yoga, so that you better understand where these two first steps are fitting. So Ashtanga. Asht means 8. Anga means legs or limbs. So it is a yoga with 8 legs and with 8 steps. Both are true. And this yoga was created by Patanjali around 200 BC. He was writing a very famous text called the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, where he was describing this yoga. And later on, around 8th century, it became also known as Raja Yoga, the royal yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga is named Ashtanga Yoga, Raja Yoga, or Patanjali Yoga. There is also Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga, but that's actually something very different. It's a yoga more related to Hatha Yoga and more focused on asana. While in Ashtanga Yoga, asana is also there, but it's only one of the 8 parts. So this is a little bit to explain what is Ashtanga Yoga. And so Patanjali did a very remarkable thing. He was writing a text that combined the ideas from 2 different schools, 2 very old schools, one called Samkhya and the other called Yoga. Samkhya is like a more philosophical school, while at that time yoga was a very practical thing. So he combined both into one concept, and that has been extremely important for yoga, because it finally brought a basic procedure on how to do yoga that actually can be applied to any kind of yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga is interesting not only because it's a very important tradition, but also because the very system of Ashtanga Yoga actually applies to all yogas. And many yogas at that time, when they have read these Yoga Sutras, they have seen it, have recognized it in their own yoga, but through this new understanding have been able even to make their own tradition more complete. And definitely after the Yoga Sutras were published, I mean this was not as things are published today, of course, no? Were spread around, this had a tremendous effect on yoga. And even to this day, people in India very often they talk about the Yoga Sutras, as if there would be only one Yoga Sutra, which is of course not true. There are so many texts on yoga, but still the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali is seen as the main source. And in that text, he talks also about many other things than we are going to talk about today. He is explaining a lot about consciousness, about energy, about the universe, and also about things like the kleshas, which are a separate class, the sources of unhappiness. Things like that are all explained there, and especially also Samadhi is explained at a very deep level, also explaining the many siddhis, the many powers that can come through practice of Samadhi. Actually, the sutras are in 4 parts, and the last part Samadhi Patta is entirely devoted to Samadhi. So it is a very, very interesting text, but it is most interesting because it offers us these 8 steps. So I'll first give a brief overview. What are these 8 steps? So they are easy to understand together. They're actually very, very logical. The yamas, the first, they are the things that you better not do if you are doing this yoga. They are the things that you better stop. The niyamas are the things that you'd better do in your life. And if you're not already doing them, that you'd better start doing in your life and integrating in your life. So Yama and Niyama are very much about how you live. They have not so much to do with what you do on your yoga mat. They are more about your lifestyle. So then comes asana. Asana in the very traditional way of the word asana, which literally means the posture in which you sit. To develop a stable sitting posture is the main objective of asana in Ashtanga Yoga. And for that, many other asanas can also be used. But the main objective is to sit comfortably and to be able to maintain this posture for a very long time. We can discuss about the time, we'll still talk about that, but let's say 3 hours is a minimum. 3 hours of sitting in one posture is a minimum. So this is not so easy, and something which needs to be developed if you want to really be able to go into deep meditation and stay there a long time. If your body is not used to sitting like that for so long, then it will take you out of your meditation. So this is a very practical reason why asana is there. This is the first thing that has to be learned. Then the 4th step is pranayama. Pranayama meaning breathing exercises. But pranayama most literally meaning to stop breathing. Actually, we will talk about it. There is a lot that can be done in pranayama, and part of it is to increase the energy. This is actually pranayama. And then after a while, to then reduce the intake of energy to the absolute minimum. And this is required because in deep meditation, breathing also will stop. In very deep meditation, everything will stop. So breathing also will stop. If your body is not used to that, again, this will take you out of your meditation. So everything here is focused on developing deep meditation called samadhi, which is the last step. So these are the 4 outer parts of Ashtanga Yoga. What you do in your life, what you don't do in your life, how you sit, and how you breathe. And then starts the process of going inside. The first being pratyahara. Pratyahara means withdrawal of the senses. You are sitting there, you are trying to go into meditation. You don't want to be disturbed by sounds from the outside, by the light filtering through your eyelids and things like that. So you learn to focus inside, to focus away from the senses. This is also quite an important part of it and not so easy, often underestimated. Then once you are fully focused inside, comes the next step, which is dharana. Dharana means to concentrate. Concentrate on a mantra, a yantra, a deity, whatever you like, but very often it is a mantra. So you go inside and you completely try to focus on that mantra, but usually then also other thoughts come in. But so this is what you learn in dharana, to keep these thoughts away and to be fully focused on the object of your meditation. Then once that is happening, you have to be able to do this for a very long time. This is called dhyana, meditation, with the least possible effort. In dharana there is still a lot of willpower involved. In dharana there is still a lot of focus, heart focus. It is needed to some extent. But once that is gained, once this focus is there, once you become really one-pointed, then it is important to be able to keep this one-pointedness with minimal effort, so that the last step can unfold. The last step is not something you can do. The last step means that you yourself are no longer there. You are not longer meditating. The meditation is happening by itself. That is why in dhyana you need to be able to reduce this willpower game, reduce your ego, reduce the idea, I want to meditate, I am meditating, I am keeping the focus. This has to go, so that after prolonged focus on the mantra in a soft way, your awareness of yourself should go. And then comes samadhi, deep meditation. I will not so much talk about that, but there also many things happen, and the main thing that needs to happen there is the cleaning out of the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind which really rules our behavior, which rules our thoughts, which rules everything that we do. So if we want to be able to be fully in control of ourselves, then we need to clean out the subconscious mind, which is the process of samadhi. And there also actually many steps can be seen or experienced. I have talked about it before. And so actually Patanjali names dharana, dhyana and samadhi as one step, which he calls samyama. Samyama means the death of everything. This is a little bit strange maybe to put it like that, but he uses the word yama a lot in a way to say you have to stop something. Huh? Like the yamas are the things you should not do in your life. Huh? And pranayama means you stop breath. Samyama means finally you stop everything. But so Yama is the Lord of death also in Hinduism. So in that way they say it is the death of everything. It is the death of your individuality. It is the death of your personality. It is the death of this life. And then you still have to move through all the memories of past lives, and then even those have to go, so that finally you stop. Sounds very serious, right? And it is very serious. I mean, there are few yogas which are described in such a serious fashion as Patanjali Yoga. In many other yogas, you can find many other objectives, like yoga can make you more relaxed, yoga can make you more happy, yoga can make you more healthy. And this is also, of course, all true for Ashtanga Yoga, but there very much the focus is on one thing only, moksha, enlightenment. There is no other reason for this whole process but that. Whatever other benefits you gain along the road are okay, or maybe fantastic, but actually worthless in relationship to the one objective of enlightenment which is there. So this is in a way a rather serious yoga, and you will also see when we talk about the yamas and niyamas, about the way how to live, that this requires quite a change in your lifestyle. A change which is most suitable for sadhus. Sadhus who completely refrain from ordinary life, from material life, from family life, and have only yoga as their objective. For them, this is possible to do. As long as you are a householder, I am not saying it is not possible, but it's definitely not easy to do it fully. But okay, you can always do whatever you can do. You can be inspired by this Ashtanga Yoga. You can be inspired by these yamas and niyamas, and definitely you can learn a lot from it. So this is more why we talk about it, not so much like that I'm saying, okay, now everybody should be doing Ashtanga Yoga, because I know this is not so easy. But you can learn a lot from it. As I said, it is a basic procedure that fits in any kind of yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga is very essential. I am not saying this is the best yoga. We have talked about that before. The best yoga is a very personal thing. We all come from a different place. If we all have to go to New York, we will all take a different road. So it's the same here. We all eventually have to go to the same place, enlightenment. But we all start from a different point. So we all need a specific yoga. For every yogi, there is a yoga. So I'm not putting forward in any way Ashtanga Yoga as the best yoga, but it's certainly a very interesting yoga philosophy. So let's then talk about Yama and Niyama. First of all, Yama and Niyama are at the beginning of Ashtanga Yoga, but they are also in a way at the end. Like, I will give one example of a Yama is non-violence. Not to be violent in word, deed or thought. Not to be angry with anybody. This is where it starts, but this is also where it ends. It is after samadhi, after this deep meditation, that again you will step into life, and again Yama and Niyama will be there. And it is with the result of that meditation, with the change that has been brought about inside of you, that you will be able to follow these Yamas and Niyamas much more easily. So the way to see how good you are doing, which is obviously a stupid idea, but we are all sometimes having this question. The way to see how good you are doing is not in how long can you sit or how deep was your meditation. The way in which you can see that you are really moving forward is with the easiness, the naturalness that you can fulfill these Yamas and Niyamas. When non-violence to you becomes like obvious, then you really know that you have gained something. So Yamas and Niyamas are really very important in Ashtanga Yoga. Now the Yamas are the things you should not do. And it must be clear that this is not a matter of morality. Not stealing, not lying, all these things. They are the things that also exist in society as morality. They exist in religion, they even exist in the law. We tell to the children, don't lie, always tell the truth. But here in yoga, there is a very different attitude towards these same subjects, a very different reason why it is not a good idea to tell something which is not entirely true. So we will be talking mostly about that and then how to do it. The main reason to follow these Yamas and Niyamas is for purification. Purifying your different layers of yourself. Purifying your mind, purifying your ego, purifying your subconscious mind. So that is why they should be there, and they are to be taken very literally in the original way that Patanjali was putting them forward. The 5 basic Yamas are seen as the great promise that is made by every sadhu. When a sadhu becomes a sadhu, he makes this promise that he will not be violent, that he will not tell lies, that he will have no possessions, etc. So that makes him a very different person from other people. It's a very different starting point. So let's take the first one, which is ahimsa, non-violence. We actually know it quite well from a famous Indian figure called Mahatma Gandhi, the one who liberated India from the British in a non-violent way. Ahimsa and Satya were his 2 weapons. Satya meaning truth and ahimsa meaning non-violence. He would always stick to the truth. He would not want any compromise. The British were offering maybe some half independency or something. No, he was very clear You British have been here for a long time. Now at least we feel we can take care of ourselves. Please go back to your queen. And there was no other way around that. But he would always do it in a non-violent way. Never harm the British. Never even telling that they were bad people or something like that. Even though they were doing at that time really bad things and killing many people. He would obviously say that those were bad things, but he would never make it personal. He would never become angry. So he was a great example for ahimsa, and whoever wants to learn about ahimsa just needs to read the life story of Mahatma Gandhi. It is quite great the way he has done that. And in our own life we can also try to do it. And of course not to hit anybody is not so very difficult. Not to shout at anybody is also not so difficult. But not to have any angry thoughts about anybody, that is a little more difficult. But so it can be learned. It's a matter of exercise. It is not about never having any feeling of irritation, but it is about the moment that you feel this irritation is there, that you counter it, that you go against it, that you don't allow it, and that you find another way to deal with whatever problem has caused it. So, why is this important in Ashtanga Yoga? Well, there are many, many good reasons. First of all, you have to understand that in the old days, yogis did not meditate in a room locked with a key. They were meditating outside, in the jungle, or maybe in a cave or somewhere, in the desert. And if they go in deep meditation, in samadhi, they are entirely vulnerable. They have no perception of what is happening around them. So, if you still have quarrels with people, if you still feel anger towards people, and those people feel angry towards you, you will be afraid to go in deep meditation. And fear is one of the most important reasons why deep meditation is so difficult. The fear of letting go of control, the fear of truly closing your ears and no longer hearing what is happening around you is very strong. So this non-violence is a quality that allows you to sit somewhere and feel, I have not harmed anybody, so nobody will have any grudge against me. And it goes quite beyond that, actually. If you know these kind of people, then they are non-violent in such a way that even animals will feel it. Because if you are sitting in the jungle meditating, a snake might come by and just pass through. And you're not noticing it. The snake knows, but he also feels your peace. And he will not feel in any way like threatened by you. And he will just pass through. There are many examples like that, where even tigers have come near people who are in deep meditation and who have not harmed them, even though they could just have thought, it was a nice piece of dinner sitting there, they did not. So developing non-violence is very important. And of course also because if you still have quarrels with people, these quarrels themselves are going to keep you out of your deep meditation. When you are entering deep meditation, when you are slowly losing this kind of self-awareness, then mind is going to try to get you out of it. Mind does not want to go to sleep. Mind is then like a child who does not want to go to sleep and will cause all sorts of trouble. But mind cannot cause trouble on its own. For that it needs you. It needs your anger. So it will bring up again those things that made you angry. It will bring up again those fights, and you will start thinking about them. And again, a lot of effort has been lost. So to be non-violent is really quite important. And you could take it a little further also, saying that that's which you're trying to reach is absolutely non-violent. The self cosmic consciousness, or whichever name you want to give it, is entirely non-violent. How do you want to go there if you still keep violence inside you? It will not work. So, it is very, very important, and there is still another reason why it is very important, and that is ojas. I have explained before that in deep meditation, breathing stops. The question is, how do you continue living if you are no longer breathing? The answer is ojas. Ojas is a kind of pranic energy stored inside you. And when there is no more breathing, the prana will come out of this ojas and it will keep your system alive. And my teacher used to say, 1 minute of anger is enough to destroy the ojas generated through 1 year of meditation. Now that may have been a little bit an exaggeration, I have no idea, but it's quite clear that in the whole spiritual process, and especially in deep meditation, very subtle chemicals are created in you. And they help you in your life. They help you, make you more non-violent. They help you, make you more peaceful. But they are subtle. They are very easily destroyed. And anger is a great fire, a purifier also, but also a very destructive force. So if you let that anger come in you, then a lot of those chemicals will be gone, and indeed you will have to start again. So non-violence here has nothing to do with morality. It is science. It is understanding of what is needed in meditation. Nothing else. And we will see this also for the others, like Satya, speaking truth or not telling any lies.